Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening and thank you for tuning in 2 times now. The show is called The Breaking Ground and I'm Deepti Sachdeva. Today on this edition of the news, we have a lot to talk about. Remember, India is a country that is very, very hopeful, and they say that hope perhaps is the most beautiful and the powerful weapon that you can have. So we are keeping our fingers crossed. We are very, very hopeful that Vinesh Phogat will be able to win her duly fought, well-deserved silver. The story is about Vinesh Phogat, but remember, even as we bring you this story, it's not just about whether Vinesh will win that silver tonight or not. The story is also about a lot of politics, remember, that has happened, and we are trying to find out that who really does not want Vinesh to win her silver. Are there still people in the country, because there are a lot of politics, continue to happen on the story. I want to begin by looking at these two pictures right now on your screens. This is a picture from the May of 2023, and this is a picture from the August of 2024. The, lady that you see in the center of both these pictures is our very own Vinesh. She fought this battle on the streets, and this is when she fought and won this match off the mat for the wrestlers. And she also said that this time around, when I'm going for the Olympics, I'm going for my sisters. A lot of those sisters who don't have a voice, who are too scared to speak up, and she said, I'm fighting for all of them. Fast forward to the August of 2024, where this is a picture that, remember, was clicked when she defeated the Japanese opponent. The Japanese opponent is 82 times unbeaten. 82 times. Just think of the scale of this victory. She lay on the mat, taking a deep breath, very, very happy, and a sense of achievement till the disqualification happened and till a lot changed. But Vinesh continues to remain a fighter as far as these pictures are concerned, and Vinesh will continue to fight no matter what. But I want to bring to your notice a statement that has been released by the IOA. Now, what is the IOA? The IOA, for those of you not very familiar, is the Indian Olympic Association. The Indian Olympic Association had put forward a statement. Before I get you that, this is also a picture that has come in of Vinesh. This is May of 2024, where, remember, she was injured. She had an ACL surgery. And this is just moments before she goes in for that surgery. You see her smiling, never ever giving up. That is the real Vinesh. That is Vinesh, the fighter, for all of us. But in spite of all these trials, in spite of all these tribulations, remember, what doesn't change is the Vinesh's attitude of never give up. This is a picture that was clicked, if you look closely, by Abhinav Bindra and his team just after she was disqualified. And there is a better picture where you see her looking in the front. If I can see this, I'm sure you can see this too. Look at her eyes. We'll go back on the same still picture again where she's looking in the front. Her eyes are swollen. There was also a point where a lot of people close to Vinesh have told us, and when I spoke to them, they said that she wanted to cry, but she was so dehydrated from within that she could not even cry. There was not even a drop of tear that was coming out. Her eyes were all swollen. This is also a Vinesh who's managing to smile in spite of all that. This is also a Vinesh who's still very hopeful. This is also a Vinesh who hasn't yet said a word. She hasn't said a word about what has happened so far. She's waiting. She's waiting for the results tonight, close to about 9:30. This is where you will have the Court of Arbitration putting out its verdict, whether Vinesh will be able to get her shared silver. Now let's bring forward that statement. And why am I showing you this statement today? This statement, remember, has just come hours before you have that all-important verdict on the case. Look at what the IOA says. The IOA says that the responsibility of weight management lies with the athlete and the coach. So the Indian Olympic Association says, don't ask us questions, don't blame us, ask Vinesh, ask her support staff. They also say that the responsibility is not that of the IOA appointed chief medical officer. Now, you would recall that Dr. Pardiwala, along with PT Usha, who heads the IOA, both have come forward to speak to media on a number of occasions in the last 1 week. The IOA also says that each Indian athlete in Paris 2024 had his or her own support team. Absolutely right. Vinesh had her own people with her. That is true. If you blame Vinesh, what about the IOA? Does the IOA have zero responsibility? Look at what they say. The IOA appointed medical team couple of months ago to assist the athletes. Look at this word, they say assist the athletes. But how are you assisting the athlete if you say that everything that happens is her own responsibility? It's her own fault. They go on to say that the hate directed at the IOA medical team and Dr. Pardiwala is unacceptable. Let me tell you a backstory. Now, what happened with Dr. Pardiwala is that the moment you saw him in front of TV cameras speaking to a lot of audience, people started questioning him. They said, why was he not responsible? Did he assist, Vinesh in all her struggles? Did he ensure that she comes underweight so she's able to fight the finals and win us a gold medal? Also because he's someone who's appointed, remember, by the IOA. He is not a nutritionist. He's not someone who was directly working with Vinesh, but he comes forward to give a media bite. So the IOA, headed by PT Usha, was really upset with the kind of campaign that was going on against Dr. Pardiwala, and hence they released this statement. Fair enough. But if you just look at the tone and tenor of this entire statement, you realize one thing, that the IOA says, do not blame us. Do not ask us any questions. Go and ask Vinesh. Because they say Vinesh alone is responsible for whatever has happened. And all this, remember, just coming hours before the big verdict. Why are we not speaking like one? You and I believe that Vinesh must get her silver. You and I believe that there should be accountability on the entire issue. But why is the IOA wanting to pull itself back? Let's also get us the top 5 questions at 5. That's how we begin the show. My first question is, will Vinesh Phogat get her deserving silver tonight? The real fight is about that silver medal. And do remember, it's important that she gets that silver. And as soon as that will happen, remember, we will expect her to be perhaps breaking her silence and say a lot more things. The next question up on your screens, why did the IOA distance themselves from Vinesh just before this all-important verdict? This is very important. The timing of that entire statement that has been released, remember, by the authority, very, very significant. Why did that happen just hours before you have that verdict coming in? Will the IOA statement influence the CAS verdict? The CAS, remember, again, for those of you not very familiar, is the court of arbitration that has heard in the entire case. What if this entire statement that has been released by the IOA ends up impacting that verdict? Who will be responsible? Who will be accountable? This brings us to our next question that will be up on your screens. What is the Indian Olympic Association's responsibility vis-a-vis every athlete? We do know that all the athletes, remember, have their own support staff, they have their own support team, but then what is the IOA doing? Can the IOA just claim victory when you have an athlete picking up a medal and zero accountability when you have athletes losing the fight? Clearly, these are important questions. Let's bring our next question now on your screens. And this is, remember, about a lot of politics. This is a question that I've asked previously also on the show. You have seen the Congress that has backed Phogat during the protest, and now to prove that the Modi government is anti-woman, we have seen them speaking about support for Vinesh Phogat, going against the IOA, speaking also against the government of the day. They say that you are not backing her, and this is the reason why they have again and again said that this again is a case of victimization of Vinesh Phogat. Let's bring our next question also on our screens if possible, and then we'll also get you more details on the entire timeline as far as the journey, remember, is concerned. Now, in the January of 2023, this is when you have the protest breaking out. You have seen that very, very powerful picture of Vinesh just surrounded by a lot of cops trying to push them apart. This is where you had Vinesh, Bajrang Punia, Sakshi Malik, all a part of the wrestlers' protest. They were out in the streets. Then the May of 2023 is where you have Vinesh Phogat, who's arrested during the protest march to the new parliament. So she has kind of traveled this entire journey. She has seen all this. Then in the August of 2023, Vinesh sustains a knee injury during training, and then she misses the Asian Games. So you've seen her fighting a lot of these injuries, fighting on the streets, fighting with her injuries. In the December of 2023, Vinesh and Bajrang Punia, they returned the Khel Ratna Award, also the Arjuna Awards. You would recall, again, those images that we still remember, that the sports people were forced to return those awards because they said the government of the day does not even listen to us. In the March of 2024, Vinesh won the lighter division of the selection trials for the Asian Championships. This brings us to our next, timeline that you will see. It's in the April of 2024 where Vinesh secures the place at the Paris Olympics in the women's 50 kilogram category. Lot of protests and lot of conversation about why did she go in for 50 kilogram. But we here, remember on the show, have told you that she had no option. If she had to fight an Olympic, she had to go in for the 50 kilogram category because the 53 was already taken. In the August of 2024 only, it's Vinesh when she reaches the final of the women's 50 kilogram wrestling final. She defeats a Japanese counterpart who was unbeaten for 82 times. But then things change. Everything comes falling down for Vinesh. And this is where we saw her picture, where she was sitting on the floor, completely devastated, did not know what to do. Let's bring up more details on the entire story, and then we'll also get in more details on what possibly could happen. Now, the question we are asking, who let Vinesh down? Someone clearly is responsible. Someone has let Vinesh down. On your screen, you're looking at 3 images. Let me introduce who we are talking about. Mansukh Mandavia, the sports minister, who goes to the floor of the house and he says, हमने विनेश की ट्रेनिंग पे इतना पैसा खर्च किया है. इस championship में इतना, इस championship में इतना. He gives you a full account of the kind of money that has been spent by the government on Vinesh and her training, on the coach also. Then is this man, if you look very closely, this is Sanjay Singh. He right now is the WFI president. Look who's standing next to him. This man was a former MP, but he's still a BJP man. His name is Brij Bhushan. There were serious allegations of sexual assault that were leveled by the wrestlers against him. Everyone said that the WFI election that happened was a sham of an election. The entire matter even went to the court. And this man, Sanjay Singh now, who's been named as the WFI president, he is a proxy of Brij Bhushan. He also traveled to Paris. Just think of the situation, whether you have seen Sanjay really wanting Vinesh to win this match or not. And that is where the opposition also says ki dal mein kuch kala hai. Now, we clearly here are not in a position to say anything, but we stand with Vinesh. Let's bring up the other character now. This is the IOA president. This is PT Usha. She's a legend. And when she came at the helm at the IOA, people believed everything will change in sports. We'll see less of politics. We'll see more focus on sports. We'll see more focus on our athletes. And PT Usha, who heads the IOA, has released that statement that we just told you more about, clearly telling you how the story has moved and whether or not Vinesh today is looking at all of them and asking that what wrong did I do? Why did, I miss that chance to play the final? We must also say that she, as an athlete, has a responsibility to maintain her weight. The support staff must be questioned. But also then we must question the IOA that apparently has already thrown her under the bus. Let's bring up some important reactions for you. We have a reaction earlier that came in from Mansukh Mandavia, remember, when he said on the floor of the house of the kind of money, the kind of grants that they have spent on making Vinesh what she is, according to him, and also a response that has come in from the WFI president, who's continuously maintained, we are backing Vinesh.
हंगरी में 4th रैंकिंग सीरीज में भाग लेना और 10 से 16 जुलाई 2023 16 दिन तक बुडापेस्ट हंगरी में प्रशिक्षण शिविर हेतु इसको वित्तीय सहायता की है। वेलमेकेन बुल्गारिया में 10/11/2022 से 3/12/2022 तक प्रशिक्षण के लिए वित्तीय सहायता दी है। उनके रिहाई प्रक्रिया के लिए आवश्यक उपकरण खरीदने के लिए भी वित्तीय सहायता की गई है। 2020 टोक्यो ओलंपिक चक्र में 1,13,98,224 रुपये का आर्थिक सहयोग उसको किया गया था। 224 पेरिस ओलंपिक चक्र में भी टारगेट ओलंपिक पोडियम स्कीम में 53,35,746 और वार्षिक ट्रेनिंग एवं स्पर्धा कैलेंडर में 17,10,000 कुल मिला के 17,45,775 रुपया हमारे खिलाड़ी को आर्थिक सहायता करके उसको सक्षम करा गया।
Vinesh disqualification is very shocking, and I met Vinesh at the Olympic Village Polyclinic a short while ago and assured her complete support of the Indian Olympic Association, Government of India and the whole country. We are providing Vinesh all medical and emotional support. The Wrestling Federation of India has filed an appeal to UWW to consider the decision to disqualify Vinesh, and IOA is following that up in the strongest possible manner.
So that, remember, is a response that actually came in from both PT Usha and Dr. Pardiwala the very first time that you have the entire news of the disqualification coming in. So what has happened, and why did the IOA release this statement just before the verdict by the Court of Arbitration? That's got to be our top focus. I want to quickly introduce our panel of guests. It's a pleasure to have Ashwini Nachappa, who's a former athlete, on the show with us. She's ever smiling, and I have seen her really, fighting for the sportsmanship. So I think it's a pleasure, Ashwini, to have you on the show. Also, good to have Kripa Shankarji. He's, remember, spoken on our shows multiple times. He echoes what a lot of athletes today feel. He's also an Arjuna Awardee, a wrestler and a coach. And also Shilpi Jain, who's a Supreme Court lawyer. We are also waiting to be joined by Rahul Mehra. And with the permission of Ashwini, Shilpi and Kripa Shankarji, I quickly want to get in Rahul first up into this conversation, who's taken time out from his busy schedule to, speak to us. Because, Rahul, I think no one is following the case as much as you are. You understand the intricacies. You understand the devil in the details. Tell me first up, what is your reading? Why did we have the statement from the IOA, Rahul, just hours before you have the Court of Arbitration wanting to put out its verdict?
Well, I hope my biggest fear is something only which is a fear and which doesn't really have reality attached to it, and which is that somebody somewhere is trying to hijack the entire process of the proceedings before CAS. There was absolutely no reason whatsoever. And, let me tell you, PT Usha is a player herself. She's one of those players who actually came forth, missed it by a whisker when I was a child.
Yes.
She did to us what Vinesh is doing to the younger generation and all of us in India today. Created a space in the heart of every Indian, despite the fact that she did not win an Olympic medal. Vinesh currently is in the same position. And least you expected was some empathy, some understanding, some even if you were a complete disaster in giving her any support at that time when she needed your support, a shoulder to cry on, a cool mind with which somebody could take her case up to the CAS. Because remember, before CAS, everything is time bound. These are special courts which have been set up. Within hours, your petitions have to come. Otherwise, you lose that chance of challenge. And even though Vinesh was distraught, she was dismayed, she was saddened, she was heartbroken, she was in a mental state which we can't even comprehend. And yet, she had the presence of mind to ask the pro bono 4 French lawyers to assist her and help her in drafting the petition and placing her challenge before CAS. Just imagine if Vinesh would not have done so. All these talks of Harish Salve and the others coming in now and trying to take the credit would have been a distant dream for India. It is because of Vinesh's presence of mind that those French lawyers, imagine India, 140 crore people.
Yes.
So much of money, with so much of backing, with all the officials having a party and a gala time in Paris, could not even put their heads together to challenge this verdict. USA did it in minutes. They were about to lose that bronze medal. They did it in minutes. That's a country which feels for its athlete. That's the people and the federations whose heart beats for the athlete. Out here, people are going to be now the moment, there are 2 scenarios today. If she wins the silver medal, I hope she does. But the entire India is praying for it. 1.4 billion people are praying, and I hope God listens.
Absolutely.
And if she wins, what is going to happen? Everybody, even the most insignificant person who's in the power corridors of power, is going to latch in and say, she's our daughter, she's this, she's our pride, she's done wonders. And people are going to dole out awards and all that, take photo opportunities. Same Usha is going to have a photo opportunity with her. All the cronies sitting out there are going to have photo opportunities out there. When she comes out here, they're going to make it feel as if they are the ones who have won the silver, not Vinesh. Vinesh had nothing to do in the process. It just happened as a byproduct, by chance. You know, they were the ones who have created the systems. They are the ones who have given her the money. All of that will start. But the moment she loses, God forbid, and she doesn't get this verdict in her favor, people are going to question her. People are going to question her entire medical team. People are going to say, what kind of fools are these individuals who can't even at that highest level reduce and cut their 100 grams of weight.
You are right.
This is the kind of situation today. These are the kind of thoughts that I have in my mind, that why can't we support our athlete in thick or thin?
Absolutely,
why can't we
Rahul.
back a champion?
Goes without saying, whether they win or lose, they are champions for us. And that's exactly the sentiment the country has, Rahul. But you've touched on a number of interesting points. I also do have a full panel waiting for us, but I just quickly want to take one quick question from you, Rahul. We are all waiting what will happen tonight at 9:30. We all hope and pray Vinesh wins her silver. But when the IOA says that, look, don't ask us questions, don't blame us. You know, Vinesh is a competent athlete. She's been to the Olympics. She understands ki weight upar niche hota hai. There are tough rules that you need to follow. Her support system, is her own support system. So why are you blaming the IOA? So is that a fair premise to make, Rahul?
Not at all, because we have to just travel 6 months back and maybe a year and a half back. What was the environment that we created for Vinesh in the run-up when people are going overseas to train and, they are completely focused. One pointed focus is there that I have to win a medal at Olympics. We made her stay and spend those sleepless nights on the streets of Delhi. Nobody came to her rescue. Even the same PT Usha, who's today saying what she's saying, I'm sorry, I have no respect left for her today for what she has done. Even if the masters that be, even if she's a puppet and the puppeteers are somebody else, even then she should have put her foot down and said,
Rahul,
no,
do you allege a conspiracy? Do you smell a conspiracy anywhere?
Well, this is not the time for me to, obviously, all the conspiracy, if there is one, will unfold and unravel in the days to come. I have no doubt about it. Conspiracy number one, Mr. Sanjay Singh, the president of a suspended Wrestling Federation of India, is in the village and is roaming around, because these are the same people who threatened Vinesh and her colleagues. Dabdaba bana hai, dabdaba bana rahega, when she had alleged all the sexual harassment charges.
That is true.
These are the intimidating people. What is a suspended bodies federation boss doing there? Who gave him the ticket? Who gave him the permission to be in that village? That is conspiracy number one. Conspiracy number two, the IOA, which actually bent backwards in a case which is ongoing case before Delhi High Court, which Vinesh and Bajrang have filed amongst others, asking Sanjay Singh and others and their election to be completely set aside, and Sanjay Singh not to have anything to do with the international world wrestling body.
Yes.
Why did IOA revoke its suspension to support Sanjay Singh, a suspended president of a suspended body? So there is conspiracy after conspiracy in the run-up. Nobody wanted Vinesh to qualify in the Olympics, and yet because of her resilience, because of her courage, because of her commitment, because of her perseverance, she is where she is. She is there. She is there despite the system, not because of it.
And I remember these are lines, I think that Abhinav Bindra also famously once had quoted. Yes, Rahul.
Absolutely.
Only for war of time, but I look forward to talking to you again, Rahul. And thank you so much for taking out time to speak to us. And apologies because I had to keep Ashwini, Shilpi and also Kripa Shankarji waiting. We have limited time now, so let's...
My sincere apologies to my
it's important, Rahul, that you said what you said, because I think you understand the system far better than all of us. You've represented Bajrang Punia and Vinesh also in the court. If possible, if you can stay back with us for a few more minutes, that will be very nice. Ashwini, let's begin by asking you, how do you read into the timing of the statement and what has happened, Ashwini, so far? You'll have to unmute, Ashwini.
I just want to begin by saying Rahul has been fighting for sportsmen for decades right now. If there's one person who's literally stood by all sportsmen, it's been him through thick and thin. I mean, this is just even the 2010 Commonwealth Games onwards, we've seen the way he's been fighting. So thank you, Rahul, for that. But also, I think today's silver medal, whether she gets it or not, does not define Vinesh Phogat. Let's change that narrative. Whether she wins it or not, she is a superhero. And I think that's what we need to talk about and not harp on whether she gets it or not. I mean, all of us are praying that she gets it. But what that girl has shown, the resilience, the determination, the grit, is what defines her. And she has not just inspired athletes in India, her fellow sportsmen across the world.
Across the world, yes. That's a good point.
Across the world is actually inspired by this girl.
Yes.
You know, what she has achieved in those 3 bouts, irrespective of that 100-gram, the rule, I mean, Rahul really put everything into perspective. Why is a suspended association member representing and in the village?
Yes, he's traveling with them, and I think as rules say, and Rahul can correct me if I'm wrong, but कृपा शंकर जी, अगर कोई एक इंडिविजुअल कंटिंजेंट के साथ जाता है तो उसको परमिशन चाहिए, उसको सरकार का क्लियरेंस चाहिए. तो अगर वो सस्पेंडेड है, इतने एलिगेशंस हैं बॉडी पर, वो केस अभी पेंडिंग है हाई कोर्ट में, तो क्या ये सवाल उठाना लाजिम नहीं है कि सिर्फ विनेश की ही सारी गलती और किसी की कोई गलती नहीं है? कृपा शंकर जी.
देखिए, भारतीय कुश्ती संघ निलंबित मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ यूथ अफेयर स्पोर्ट्स की तरफ से है, ओलंपिक संघ की तरफ से नहीं है. और ओलंपिक में प्रतिनिधित्व करने के लिए ओलंपिक संघ भेजता है, और यूनाइटेड वर्ल्ड रेसलिंग की तरफ से भी सस्पेंड नहीं है. तो संजय सिंह जी गए वहां पर, उसी के नाते गए वो. और अगर हम बात करें जैसे कि विनेश का वजन जो 100 ग्राम,
शंकर जी, अगर उनकी कोई जिम्मेदारी नहीं है, आईओए की जिम्मेदारी नहीं है, तो ये लोग जाते क्यों हैं? सिर्फ एथलीट और उनके सपोर्ट स्टाफ को भेज देना चाहिए.
परिवार के लोग जाते हैं, वो एक अलग मुद्दा है. सिर्फ संजय सिंह अकेले नहीं है, वो सारी दुनिया और सभी फेडरेशन में हो रहा है.
Okay, I'm told I just have the last 30 seconds, Shilpi.
No, I'm not surprised with what is being said. There's a background. She's been fighting up till now all alone, and she's reached this far in spite of them, not because of them.
Yes.
We've seen her state, how she was distraught. She was arrested. Instead of giving her support that time, there were mute witnesses. And now she's reached this far all alone. And this was the time when she needed the maximum support, and they throw her under the bus. And if she is to win the medal, I think the credit also they should not take. If they are heading the association, they accompany her all the way, and they put their arms up and say they have nothing to do with.
Absolutely. You know, I'm wondering, Shilpi, Rahul, Ashwini and Kripa Shankar ji, that tonight if Vinesh wins that shared silver, will the IOA also release a statement and say we have nothing to do, we have zero contribution, this is only and only Vinesh's glory? Rahul, we are watching that space. Thank you so much once again to all of you, both Shilpi, Ashwini for joining us, Kripa Shankar ji and Rahul. Ashwini, you're saying something?
I want to apologize on behalf of all these athletes who are supporting, and you know, the greater stars have not come forward to support her. And I feel ashamed about it. Really, there's been just no human touch, even in the Olympic Village, except for Abhinav Bindra.
Yes. Rahul, 5 seconds, Rahul.
Just 5 seconds. Kripa Shankar ji, you are wrong. The government of India vets every single name which goes to the village.
Absolutely.
And that's how IOA sends it.
Yes. So we are watching what happens. Our prayers with Vinesh. Thank you to all of you for joining us. It's been such an interesting conversation. Heading into a break. On the other side, there's lots more.